So LinkedIn, using LinkedIn efficiently. Um, in looking at everything we've got to do in our daily work lives and personal lives, there is just it seems like there's so much to do in so little time to get everything done. And in this world, we've got so many apps and different technology tools and things that very realistically have skyrocketed our productivity. But at the same time, it's given us a lot more to do, and it's added a lot more to our plates. Um, where we used to have that free time in the evenings. I don't know if there's some people on this call that can relate to this, but you're sitting at home way after hours and you realize, oh, I didn't bring that file home. I'm working on this presentation. I need that information. The days of driving back into the office at 10:30 at night to go get that file, those are over. I can't tell you how many times I've done that. Like the night before a presentation, oh, I needed that stat, and I'm driving back in. I don't have to do that anymore. I can just, pull out my phone and go check that stat, right? So those days are over, but at the same time, we're constantly connected. It's hard to turn everything off, right? So today, what I'm going to talk about is not so much what to do and why to do it in LinkedIn. We've done lots and lots of those types of seminars before. And if you go to my YouTube channel, you'll find lots of that type of information. Very specifically today, we're going to be talking about the how. How do we save time doing the things that we do with LinkedIn? And the absolute number one best thing that we can do is going to a meeting like this where we start talking about having a plan going into LinkedIn, right? If you just log into LinkedIn without a set idea of what exactly you're looking for and what you're going to do, I mean, that's like skipping a meal and then going to the grocery store without a list, right? You're going to buy everything in the store and is that fried octopus? I'll take a carton, please. But you're going to get all this stuff that you don't need and you're wasting lots of time. So we're going to talk about how to avoid that here today. And I just want to make sure we're all on the same page when it comes to what I'm referring to with efficiency. To me, efficiency is number one, not doing things that we don't need to be doing. Two, doing the things that we do need to be doing better with less steps. And then in any chance and opportunity I get to automate, optimize, and upgrade whenever possible. And I highlighted in red there upgrade because this almost always comes up in LinkedIn seminars and conversations. Is it worth it to upgrade in LinkedIn? And for whatever reason, I don't have the floor when this question comes up. So I'm grabbing the floor right now to do that. And yes, it is worth it to upgrade in LinkedIn. In fact, in my opinion, it is significantly more expensive not to upgrade your LinkedIn account because the things that you're able to do and the access that you have in LinkedIn with just a premium account, not necessarily a LinkedIn recruiter account or a sales navigator account, just a premium account, being able to get the insights about a company of, they love to hire people from this company. And most people who left that company go into this company and they've got tons of alumni from that school. Knowing that kind of information gives you so many different inroads and so much more information to understand that culture that could land you the job. And to save $50 so that you can continue to lose thousands per week while you try to figure out everything on your own by not having that information, to me, I mean, it's like, I'm going to save $150 by not buying all 4 tires for my car. I'm just going to have 3. It's to me, it's absolutely worth it. And the cost of missed opportunities, is just too high. So I strongly recommend upgrading to a business class so you can look at as many profiles as you need to, and you get that access, profile views, all that kind of stuff, which just creates opportunities. So just my 2 cents on that. So what are we doing on LinkedIn? I went through, for those of you who did answer that question on the questionnaire when you registered for this, thank you for those who did. And this is a sampling of what was in there, a majority of what are the things that were said on there. I think I had 12 total different categories of the things that we do on LinkedIn, of searching for job leads. A lot of people said, looking for jobs, updating your profile, that takes a lot of time. researching the companies in your competitions, in the competition, accepting and sending invitation requests, managing participating in groups, posting updates and articles to make sure you stay relevant and in front of people's eyes, introducing our connections to each other, which is also really important and a great way to build your network. And then of course, LinkedIn Learning, which was lynda.com for so long, which was a fabulous resource. And I really think LinkedIn Learning is taken it even further. I know there's debate on that, but I think I think they did a fantastic job with LinkedIn Learning and made it more accessible to get that information. So now we need to make sense of this information per those 3 parameters that I was just talking about, not doing the things we don't need to do and doing what we do need to do in less steps and automating and optimizing. How do we eliminate the things that we don't need to do? Well, I mean, first thing is it's important to actually write down, here's all the things that I do on LinkedIn. You know, come up with your own list. What are you doing on LinkedIn? And by every one of those things, ask yourself, is this worth doing? Do I need to do this thing? And if it is worth doing, do I need to do this thing every single day? Right? I think we lose a lot of time thinking we've got to do things every single day that we really don't need to do every single day. And as you go back through to kind of reiterate it, how long does it take to do that thing? You know, if you start measuring that time take a week and figure out how long it takes you to do each one of those tasks, so that a week from now you can go back through time and again for a day and see if you're getting better, see if you're improving on your time, so you don't spend as much time in LinkedIn. And then determining, is the amount of time I'm spending on this thing effective, you know, versus the loss of whatever else I could be doing, right? So I heard earlier this week, there was a story about Mickey Rooney. For those of you who know that name, he had taken this whole efficiency thing to an extreme and a whole other level, which I thought was hilarious. But he went through and calculated out the square footage of his house compared to what his rent was, or his mortgage. I don't remember what it was, but how much he was paying for the house. And then went through, I mean, right down to the square foot, and then went through and looked at every single item in his house to figure out, am I getting X number of dollars of value out of that thing sitting right there in that little 1-by-1 space in his house? Now, that might be a little bit extreme, but you know, every day there's going to be a new tool that's going to take more time to figure out and use and add to your repertoire. At some point, the house gets full, you know, the thimble gets full, and you've got to start replacing with other things. There is an infinite number of things we could do on LinkedIn. How valuable are the things that you're doing? All right, so that's a great way to start evaluating. And then if we attach those evaluations to these things, that's going to help us organize it a little bit. So I'm going to organize these into a little bit easier to follow by, here's the things, just from my perspective, this might not be how you would approach it, but what I think are daily activities: job leads, accepting and sending invites, and posting on LinkedIn. And then we'll get into weekly and once and rare, which are kind of goal dependent things as we go. So let's jump into the daily things that we need to do. And I'm just quickly glancing at the chat real quick. Oh, I'm gonna, I guess, show you all of these. If there are questions that are coming up, please put your hand up, because I can see the hands go up. You know, click the little icon that says hand, not literally, because I don't know if I'll see that. But I'll see hands go up, and I see a hand go up. I don't know where the hand went up. The hand disappeared. Oh, somebody was testing the hand? All right, great. Okay, so these are the categories, the things that I'm going to be doing. And people are testing their hands. You can leave it up if you want me to respond. And we'll start with job leads. So inside of, I'm just going to kind of show you, because this list is already written in here. Inside of speedupmyjobsearch.com, in my phase 3 section for the daily search process, I have a whole section on where to get job leads. And I've got 11 topics in here, 10 of which are different sources on where you can get job leads. Targeting companies on LinkedIn is a primary area where you can get those leads. And if you've been following me for more than a week, I suspect you've heard this. So I'll go through this quickly. But a great way to get leads in LinkedIn is to go to LinkedIn and look for people who do what you do, not companies. Look for people who do what you do in your area. Then open their profiles and take a look at who hired them to do what you do in your area. That's a great target list of companies to start going after, that you can start searching for jobs at those companies. And that's going to be a great starting point for you. Now, I will say, if you have a free account within LinkedIn, you have a limited number of, it says searches that you can do. The reality is it's counting the number of profiles you open, not necessarily the number of searches that you run. I have got a page on my site that is free and has always been free and always will be free, speedupmyjobsearch.com/unlimited. And I'm going to attempt, while we're talking here, numerous times, so hopefully I'll be great at this by the end, but I'm going to attempt to switch back and forth. If you go to speedupmyjobsearch.com/unlimited, this is a Google search box. Now, if you are logged in to LinkedIn on this browser, if you click on any of the profiles that open up, then that will count as a profile open because you're logged in and it goes there. If you have a free account, go into some other browser, any other browser that you don't normally use, block all cookies from that browser, and then run this search. And you can run this as many times as you want, open as many profiles as you want, and it's fine. If you don't have cookies blocked, it will only let you look at one profile, and then it'll always insist you log in. If you're getting that, hey, you must log in to see more, then cookies got through. So you got to clear all your cookies and start again. If you are logged in or you've got a premium version, I would use this to search anyway, because this is not dependent on who you're connected to. This is searching all of LinkedIn, and it is only searching profiles on LinkedIn. It's not looking through articles. It's not looking through companies. It's only looking through profiles. And you'll have a good list of whatever it is you're looking for. There's however many down there. So this can help you to more efficiently search through. So that's a great way to get leads, quick and easy. And if you do that and you use a tool such as Trello, for example, in Trello, and you can make this yourself. Trello is a free tool. There we go. So in Trello, make a template card, do this for free. So like for members of Speed Up My Job Search, and even free members of Speed Up My Job Search who have access to this board, you'll have access to this card, which is where you can go and get leads. This tells you everything I just told you, written out so you're reminded how to do this. Find those 5 leads. Number 1, let's say you find Drive staff, and you click save and fill all these things out. And then you can turn each one of these into a card. And then you've got your card. Drop this into the job leads and progress it through, the process, and use the checklist that you can put on there of what to do, right? Here's the things you need to do to research the position that you're going after. And it doesn't always automate like this, but you can, if you've got a free version, you'll have to kind of manually do this yourself. But the automated version for our members, it'll add the next checklist and move them along and put next actions and that kind of thing. But it just makes it a more efficient process for everybody to go through and get leads. And if you do reach out to people, whether you're networking or trying to reach out to a company through LinkedIn to get to know the place a little bit better, one piece of advice I would give you is to use 2 messages. You got to get them involved in the conversation first. If you just start right out of the gate saying, hey, can you introduce me to so-and-so, and you're a total stranger to them, no. Would you? So, somebody knocks on your door and cold calls, hey, can you introduce me to your neighbor? No. Goodbye. Versus if you ask them a very tame ask of, you know, hey, I was about to apply to this role and curious if you had any insights about the place. I was just trying to find out a little bit more about it. They reply to that. Now you're in conversation. Now you ask them, you know, hey, I will go ahead. Thanks so much. I'll apply to that role. By the way, do you know who I should apply to, who I should send my resume to instead of applying online like everybody else? That gets you so much farther in the process, so much faster. 2 emails versus one seems like it's less efficient, but if the one never hits and the two usually does, what's more efficient, right? Like the what's that old Abraham Lincoln quote? If I had 6 hours to chop down a tree, I'd spend the first four sharpening my axe or whatever it was. Same idea. So accepting LinkedIn invitations just takes forever. Cutting and pasting takes a long time. So I'm going to show you 2 Chrome extensions. Now this one, if you've been following me for a while, I've always talked about TextExpander, but that broke a few months ago temporarily, just for a day, and I panicked. So I went looking for another one because I rely on this so much. And TextBlaze I like a little bit better, but there's differences between the two, and I'm going to show you both of them. All right, so here's some invites that have come in. Okay, so the way I would handle this, if any of you send me an invitation to connect, chances are excellent that I'm going to accept this invitation sometime between 5:30 and 6:30 in the morning. And now that we don't have to commute to work anymore, I sleep in a little bit more. This used to be 4:30 to 5:30 while I'm walking on a treadmill. I've got my keyboard set up on the treadmill right next to my desk here. But I'm going to go through and I'm going to right click on all of these, open a new 2 or at least 10 at a time. And those are invitations to groups. I'm only going to do 3 right now, just for sake of argument here. So this is now open. I can see that this guy, and what I'm looking for here is I won't connect with absolutely everybody who sends me an invitation. I do look for certain things. If there's no personalized invitation, which is completely and totally fine, almost, if I know you, I would like you to do that. But if I don't know you, there's not a lot of point. And there's a lot of applications out there like Duck Soup and some others that will put fake personalized introductions in there. Things like, hey, I noticed your profile and it really stood out to me. I love what you're doing there at DriveStaff. And then I go into the who's viewed your profile and they've never looked at my profile. Did they actually look at my profile and are they impressed by what I'm doing? I don't think so. So I don't connect with them. If you have less than 50 connections, I won't connect with you because I assume it's a lead gen fake profile. And some of them are just, and if you're out of the country, I rarely connect with people outside of the United States just because I don't do any business outside of the United States. Not that I have any qualms about people outside the United States. I just don't do any business there. So it uses up my connections. So I'm looking here. This guy's got over 500. He's in Los Angeles, but I've got a following out there. So I'm going to click accept. I'm going to click refresh because it just says accepted there. And now it says first. Sometimes it's only going to say second, but I need it to say first, like right now, because what I do with every one of these, and I'm going to scroll down to their endorsements, and I'm going to endorse them, endorse them, endorse them. I'm not answering all the questions about it. Some people are like, why would you do that? You don't know if he has those skills or not. This is the equivalent of this person, of me saying thanks to somebody who let me in on the highway as I changed lanes. This is not a recommendation to their next employer to hire them. And nobody is looking in here to see, did you recommend Bernard for this? You don't know. That's just not a thing. So then I'm going to go over here and I'm going to hit /LLL. That fills in with the cursor in the right spot. I'm going to click space, Bernard, how you spell it. And this is the full message. Hey, thanks. I went ahead and endorsed your profile. And if you're looking for a role, go check out my YouTube channel. Send. X. Next. This guy is in Illinois. He's only got 41 connections, but I actually know him through Scott. So I'm clicking accept. I hit refresh, but see, it still says second. You cannot endorse skills when it says second. So you got to hit refresh again. It's probably just, it rarely hits like that, but I'm thinking because we're on the Zoom call. Same deal. Click LLL, Stephen, send. So now why am I doing this to all these people? Because now when anybody goes to these profiles of these other people and they look through the endorsements, sometimes they do look to see who's in there. Sometimes it'll say connect. You just got to hit refresh again. And if this is one of the skills that I have on my profile, it's going to say so-and-so and, you know, Paul Cameron and 3 others who are highly skilled at this endorsed him for this. So now my name and my picture are on this person's profile. I've been doing this for 10 years, for, well, since however long the endorsements have been there. And I've got 21,000 connections. I promise you, I've done this to over 98% of those profiles. So on all of them, I've got skills endorsed. Now this guy sent me a long thing that I can't read from here. But that's how I handle my LinkedIn accepts very quickly. So the difference between Text Blaze, actually we'll do that right now. Difference between Text Blaze and the other one. That one was Text Blaze. It makes a little click sound and it's very accurate. I would go, well, just do a normal one just to show you the difference. Slash LLF. So now that did that. All right, and I can still put his name in there and that's fine. That's cool. But if I don't, so I've got paragraphs here, which might be a good indication I write too much stuff, but whatever, I don't see it as that. So I keep writing paragraphs. If I hit enter right now, and we go back to where I just was, it merges them all together. So now that link that I had there is now if is part of it. I have to hit enter again. So I got to hit enter twice. Or sometimes if you don't hit space, if you've got just a single message, you know, a couple line sentences, and you do your you know, slash NNN for networking, and then I just click enter to send it, or I click send, it will send them slash NNN. That never happens in Text Blaze, but it always happens in Text Expander if you don't click space at the end of it. Now, Text Expander, you can have as many shortcuts as you want. I mean, dozens and dozens and dozens. I probably had 50 of them in there. Text Blaze, for the free account, you get 20. So that's the difference in why I use both. So I need to jump because we're getting close to Andy having to leave. I want to show everybody this really cool thing that I made. Sending invites. I'm going to go backwards here in case she may even be gone already, but I'm going to show you this first and we'll go backwards. So Andy Cook, who is going to speak at our group next month, posted this awesome, in my opinion, the coolest LinkedIn meme I've seen in forever. This scratches me right where I itch. This is my kind of thing, right? Because these are scripts. I love scripts. If you want to send LinkedIn requests to people, what do you say, right? Join your network. And if you want people to say you've got interest in a specific company, this says, I saw your profile while I was researching company name and would love the opportunity to connect with you and learn more about company name. So you just obviously fill in the information. Is this easy for everybody to read here? Probably not easy for everybody to read here. And you definitely can't cut and paste this stuff here. So I've got a surprise. I made a really cool automated tool of this that you can all use on this. And I'm going to show Andy how to do it so she can put this on her site, which is maximizeyourjobsearch.com. But I want to show you this super cool thing. Obviously, I like gadgets and things. Okay, so if you go to just /Andy, also works. So speedupmyjobsearch.com/Andy. All right, here's that same meme. All right, if you scroll down, here's all this stuff. Okay, and you can cut and paste it, and it's so much easier to read, right? You're going to have it emailed to yourself. You can do that, but wait, don't do that. Here's a quick form. So now, see where it says in this first one, industry search. I recently came across your profile. We're all looking for professionals in the industry. I'd love to connect dash name. So I'm going to put in here, Paul. And for industry, I'm going to type technology. Now you'll notice it says technology dash Paul. Huh? And if you put all your stuff in here, recruiter, and say 20 plus, and your arrive staff, we met at the JNG meeting, and say machine learning. Got this email to you, yes. All of these are now customized with your information. Put your email address right here. If you're a member of Speed Up My Job Search, you logged in, it's going to auto-populate your email. Got to do the I'm not a robot stuff. I'm not sharing with robots. And just click send it to me. And you'll have it in your inbox. Use it to your heart's content and thank Andy because this was genius what she did. And I've already got it. So posting regularly. This should go a little faster. Use tools. The top two are free. They have free versions, Buffer and Hootsuite and MeetEdgar. So what Buffer is, if you're ever out looking at an article, and this is a great article, I should share this with my people, you know, my network, right? You can click Save to Buffer with one of the extensions up in the top of your browser. And it comes, it's a Google extension, it's free. And what you do with the free version, well, with all the versions, but you only get 3 options for the free version. You pick 3 times during the week, anytime, when you would like to post articles. And then when the set time comes to pass, whatever article is next in your queue will post. And it will post on your LinkedIn profile and your Twitter profile and whatever profile you want it to go to. Cool. Now you're posting regularly. You don't have to think about it. You look up articles whenever is convenient for you and just add them to your queue. Neat. Hootsuite. I then moved on to Hootsuite, which I used for many years. This is where you can schedule out across all your different platforms, whatever you want to put out, not just articles to queue, but you know, like my morning memes. If we're connected on LinkedIn, you've seen I post, you know, morning motivational topic, and then around 11:40 I'll post something else that's a tip for job seekers, and then in the afternoon I've got new jobs that post, and then I've got, you know, I've got 4 or 5 posts per day. Every night at 8 o'clock I'll post a different video to my LinkedIn profile and in different areas. And I would spend a full weekend every 2 months writing those things out. And I'd copy and paste them into an Excel sheet so I can copy and paste them over to try to be efficient so I didn't have to come up with them on the spot. But it was still a weekend of cutting and pasting all of these things. It's free, it's awesome, cool, helpful. And I think even the paid version is very, very inexpensive. MeetEdgar, not as free, but if you are connected to me, you notice I post without fail now, because when this gets to the end of my list, which has hundreds, you know, I probably have 400 or 500 different posts, it starts over. And I have it split out by categories. So, you know, when my 90 plus videos that I've got to post on my profile get to the last one, they post again. So that guys like Foster, who gave a presentation, and I've got a highlight video for him, and I want to thank him for that and promote his stuff, and Trevor, and soon to be Andy, every 90 days or so, it's going to repost it and hopefully drive people to support them as well. So MeetEdgar is a great tool. Now that is more expensive. That's $50 a month. And I clearly use it for business purposes, but the other ones have free versions. So that can help you with regularly posting. Like and share positive content. When you see a post that says, don't you hate it when your employer does blah, 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 and you click like, that's probably not your best strategy. And that happens a lot. How many likes do those posts get? The boss is keeping me for another hour tonight. Like. Not only does that person look bad in front of the boss, but everybody who clicked like on that thing now has the attention of their own network. So be careful about that stuff. Just share the stuff that's going to help people, because that not only makes you look good. Remember, what Patrick tells me about Peter tells me more about Patrick than it does about Peter. But it helps build your network up and keeps you in a positive light to future employers who are looking through your activity. And then what I would suggest is spending at least 10 cents a day. All right. Now, earlier, I just threw in my 2 cents on how to get more impact from your networking. That's what I mean. Go look for posts where you can just add your 2 cents. You don't have to write a TED talk, in the comments of that particular thing. Just throw your 2 cents in there and move on. Something positive, something helpful, not something disagreeable. I know the kind of tenor today in the culture is to protest everything. That's not helpful for you in your career. Good or bad, we are certainly free to say whatever we want, but we're not free from the consequences of what we say. And employers are watching. So say something positive and helpful, move on, spend 10 cents a day, and in and out, efficient. And that's going to help you with posting regularly. All right, so let's talk about weekly. Now, recruiting for me, that's a daily deal there, but researching. Before you go out there, a lot of people posted, hey, I like looking at articles and things through there, and maybe you're looking during the day. I want to kind of get your mindset around the idea of, reading an article is just like you're reading it in a trade magazine. And would you ever pull out a magazine in the middle of your workday to just read through the articles? Right? Is that a great use of your day? Probably not. The chances of getting something out of one of those articles that you can then immediately go put to use and affect your day positively is not as great. So I'd really caution you, go in with a purpose, right? I opened the newspaper, when I was opening newspapers instead of getting stuff online, I wouldn't go in and just read it cover to cover. I went in and looked for, what's happening in the business market, what happened to the Bears recently, and what happened in the, I love the Jumble and the comics. I would go to the certain things that I wanted to know. What's the weather going to be? And I'm out, right? So that way you don't get yourself bombarded with all this stuff that you can get upset about, because these companies and media are really going overboard trying to upset people. So I would very intentionally try to avoid it if you can. And LinkedIn articles is a place for that. So job seekers, I would make sure as part of your research and daily routine, and I'll get into this more in a minute as well, but follow every single company you apply to without fail, every single one, no exceptions. All right, because they can tell who's following and who's not. And sometimes, and I've heard of this happening at the senior levels, the other 2 candidates were following the company. The one who wasn't was the guy that a friend of mine had known, and that's why he got booted. They couldn't distinguish between them, and that was the distinguishing factor. That's ridiculous. That to have it come down to something like that. Follow every company for sure. Employers, notice the talent groups that these people are in that you're trying to pursue, and get in those groups. As best you can, try to join as many of the groups where the people are that you're in, because then you can start following people, which is another tip for job seekers as well. And really anybody, your employee or whoever, you can follow people in LinkedIn in the groups. You can't do that anywhere else. And that's important so that when they post something, they're not posting and just walking away and forgetting about it. They're posting and hopeful that people like them, and that they're being accepted, and they're ready to argue back, or whatever it is. If you go, hey, that was a really great article, thanks for sharing that. Oh, well, who was this super intelligent person who liked my article, right? They're going to think of you fondly. And then if in a few weeks after doing that, you make a phone call, the chances of them taking your phone call are so much better. The the foundation of likability is familiarity, right? And if you can be familiar in a positive way, that's going to help you to do that. All right. So the inspiration for the scripts that I put together for Andy come from a page that I've got, LinkedIn Intros. So if you were to send me a note saying, hey, Paul, I noticed that you're connected to so-and-so over at such and such a company. How well do you know them? Could you introduce me? Right? That happens frequently. And for me to sit down, I was just talking about this with Tim, another recruiter. I know he's on this call. We were just talking about that. It just drains the energy out of you. It's just, you got to think of what to say and how you're going to say it. And then you got to wait for the people to get back. And it's like somebody just handed you like an enormous homework assignment. And it's like, oh, right. And I don't want to just say no and not help. This is a real huge opportunity for us to strengthen our networks, right? With both sides. Even if I don't know you and I don't know that other person, I'm connected to over 21,000 people. I'm not going to know them all. So if you were to send that to me, I'm going to send you here. And I've got a text blaze that will even create the message for me. So I don't even have to think about that. It's going to say, hey, can you go check this out? I'd be glad to make the introduction. Fill in the quick form and then pick the template that makes sense for you. So I've got a form here that if I know you, I use the word friend, even if we're not closest buddies and we've never hung out at the movies before. And if I know you, you're part of my network, you're a friend of mine. And if I don't know you, if we've never really talked, I'm kind of a stranger. This is just, you're a friend I haven't met yet, but that's too many words. So I put stranger. All right. So if you're a friend, pick option 1 or option 2. If you're a stranger, pick option 3 or option 4. And just like the other one, so let's say you want to be introduced to one of my friends, you pick friend to friend, here's the template, right? And if you fill this information in up here, and my contact name, let's say Joe, and you have to do thing because it's our staff, for that. If you go, you're a stranger, I don't know you, here's that template. Here's this. If you have no idea whether I know the person or not, but you know that I know you, pick this one. It's going to send me both. I'll pick the right one. Right? If you know that I don't know you, and you want me to make that introduction, stranger to friend or stranger to stranger, I know if I know the other person, I'll pick the right one. And when you click, I'm not a robot, send it to Paul, but I'm going to get it in an email. I'm going to cut and paste it and send it. All right. So that saves a tremendous amount of time. All right, so accepting invites, managing groups. I would just use I'm going to skip through this piece of it, but I host if you're in technology in the Chicago area, look up the Chicago Technology Network. That's me, that's my group. That is just for people who are in technology, who are networking for jobs. We have close to 8,000 members. This is kind of our pseudo meeting place as well, that a lot of them will show up. It's a way to network for positions. There are no other recruiters in there except the recruiter who built that. It's kind of a perk for my clients as an extra resource to help people connect to my clients. Or if they're in staffing at one of my clients, I allow them in as well. Try to post updates in there and then monitor the content, so it's not sales stuff in there, but I can do that very quickly. When we're talking about profiles, to start, define what it means to be done before you start working on your profile, updating your profile. These things here need to happen. If you're looking at this on the slide here, making sure your settings are optimized. You can't call it done until then. Your contact information is accurate, no dead links, and that your profile is typo free, right? So, and that's easy to do. There's spell check things for browsers, put them up there. You want to increase your access. The more connections you have, the better. You've got that all-star rating. You want to make sure your job titles, not your headline, but your actual job titles, put one of those kind of curvy bracket things after your actual title and put the titles of the things that you're also doing. If you're a data architect, but also you're standing in for the CIO, acting CIO, comma, support team manager, comma, and just put 2 or 3 in there. Don't put a ton of them where you're keyword stuffing. But the first place, the primary place where the LinkedIn Recruiter tool From the recruiter's side, is searching is in your titles, your actual work titles. So put those extra synonyms in there, put them in brackets so it's very clear that, hey, here's my actual title, but here's some other things I'm doing, right? Without making it wordy, they got to be title oriented. That's going to help you rank higher for employers significantly. Make sure all your sections are complete and you're using bulleted content, not paragraph form. And make sure that people also viewed section is full of other people who do what you do, right? Not a list of other people who work at your company, which means the people who are looking for you or just looking for contacts at that company. Make sure that there are other people who do what you do, which means employers are looking for people who do what you do and you're coming up in the list, right? That's a great indicator whether you're getting traction or not on your profile. All right, for job seekers, daily process, make sure you're adding connections every day. I didn't go backwards to that one slide. I just want to show you that super fast. In the last 2 minutes, we might be 5 minutes over here, guys. So if you want to connect with more people first, to get them to connect to you, add I never IDK to your profile or the word lion, and you will have lots of people who don't know you sending invitations to connect. All right, if they're in the United States and obviously not lead gen, connect with them. All right, this stands for I will never click that I don't know you button, which puts you in LinkedIn jail. All right, so people are searching for that. Then likewise, do a search for people and include the quotes in that white box on LinkedIn where you're searching for things. Use the quotes, I never IDK. And you will come up with the list of all the people who wrote I never IDK on their profiles. You don't have to personalize the invite to them. They don't want it. They're not going to read it. They don't care. They just want more connections. Send them an invite. I would only do like 50 a day. But if you're trying to get over the 500 hump, or you're just trying to get more people in your particular local area, Chicago area, send those out and connect. That'll give you better insights. So daily plan, add connections daily. Follow every company that you applied to. Check who's viewed your profile. Now, if you've got the premium, you can check everybody who's checked your profile over the last 90 days. If you've got the free version, you can check the last 3. Well, if you saved 50 bucks and you just got the last 3, what if the CEO of the company you applied to Thursday just checked your profile, say 2 days ago, you missed it, right? Now you have no idea that there's any interest. You don't know what's going on. You possibly lose that job because you can't create that connection then by opening up a dialogue with them. How much did you really save versus how much you actually lost by not having that premium account, right? I urge you, there's some things you want to spend money on. If it's not helping you with your career, I would evaluate that. So, and then when you're researching, do know what you're looking for ahead of time. I have a video on my profile. I know we're at 101 here, but I've got a video on my profile, the 7 fundamentals of research, or 7 research fundamentals or key things to research. There's 7 of them, and it's about research. So look that up if you would, and you'll find out what those are. And it's a quick, like 4 or 5 minute video, and I walk through those in detail. And once you've met your definition of being done, the reason we do that is so that you can be done with it. And the next one of these Zoom meetings you go to and the person says, oh, you got to do this to your LinkedIn profile. If that thing that they told you is so awesome about LinkedIn, if that's not on your definition of done, don't mess with it, right? You're already done with it. Save yourself the time. You don't need to be doing them. All right. And then for the rare things, reading articles, like I had mentioned, I was going to show you how to do that. Somebody asked, how do you find articles better? Just go and search in that search box for the keyword. And then once the results come up, you will see an option to click on posts. Click on posts, and then you only have posts in your results with those keywords in it. And it's very targeted. Your taking courses are really fun, great distractions that make you feel like you're doing something, but you're spending a lot of time on things that aren't helping you actually land. If it's helping you to do better in your job, awesome. But if you're actively in job search, take courses that will help you to learn how to get onto the plane, not to fly the plane better once you get there, right? Does that make sense? You could be the most accredited pilot who's ever flown a plane, but if you don't know how to get on the plane, that's not going to help you. Get the certification and education you need to get on the plane first, to get that job. Prioritize what you're doing. It's certainly fun to take those courses for sure. And then adding a new job. People say, I got this new job. When do I add that? Wait until your first weekend after you started. All right. This is just one of the pieces in my phase 5 of, I got 5 different phases. Phase 5 is the onboarding. The best time to do that is after you've started, and then that first weekend. You're going to get a lot of people who say, hey, congratulations on the new job. Now you're there, a little bit about it, it's a little bit more secure. Build those networks, reply to everybody, and make sure you get on a frequency schedule of when to follow up with people. So you're really building a bridge to the next place after the one where you just landed, assuming you're not going to retire from there in the next 3 years. So thank you everybody for being here, and I'm going to sign off. Have a great weekend, everybody.